Imagine you're trying to fill up like a massive bucket with water, but you're using your bare
Oh, that
hands.
sounds completely miserable.
Right. You cup them together, you dip them into the well, and you carefully start walking toward the bucket.
Okay.
But every few steps, someone just, taps you on the shoulder.
Oh, I see where this is going.
Yeah, you turn around to see what they want. The water spills right through your fingers, and you have to go all the way back to the well and start over.
It's an incredibly frustrating image. I mean, eventually you're just left with empty hands.
Exactly.
You've got zero actual progress
Hmm.
and just a total sense of cognitive exhaustion. You feel like you've been working for hours, but the bucket is still, bone dry.
And that feeling of constant interruption, that endless spilling of your mental energy, is exactly what we're diving into today. Welcome to today's deep dive.
It's a really crucial topic.
It really is. Our mission right now is unpacking a highly practical, surprisingly profound guide. It's titled Managing Distractions and Digital Devices During Revision.
Right, and we should clarify who this was originally for.
Yes, so this source material was specifically designed for Year 11 IGCSE and Year 13 IB boarding students. Basically, students who are prepping for some massively intense exams.
Those are incredibly high-stakes environments.
Very high stakes. But let me stress this right up front to you listening. We are not just talking to high schoolers today.
Not at all. I mean, the principles inside this guide are universal life skills.
Yeah, completely universal.
The stakes for those students are undeniably high, sure, but the underlying mechanics of human attention are the exact same, whether you're studying for an IB chemistry exam.
Or like trying to write a complex coding script.
Exactly. Or preparing for a high-stakes corporate board meeting. The brain works the way the brain works.
Okay, let's unpack this. We all know we live in a world packed to the brim with digital distractions.
To put it mildly,
Right. We have phones, social media, gaming, streaming platforms.
just endless notifications buzzing in our pockets all day.
Exactly. And we don't need another lecture telling us that, screen time is bad. You already know this.
Everyone knows it on some level.
Yeah. But what our source makes clear is that unmanaged digital use acts as this massive, invisible drain on your brain's fundamental ability to concentrate. And crucially, to retain information.
What's fascinating here is that the text emphasizes that technology itself isn't the enemy.
Wait, it isn't?
No, not inherently. The devices are not these malicious entities out to destroy your brain. They are tools.
Okay, so what's the actual problem then?
The real issue, the actual threat to your productivity and your memory retention, is the lack of management surrounding those tools.
So it's how we engage with them.
Precisely. So the journey we're taking today moves past that obvious, phones are distracting baseline.
We're going deeper.
We are. We're going to look under the hood at these psychological and neurological traps our devices set for us.
And then figure out how to escape them.
Right. We're going to build actionable, structured routines that genuinely protect your focus.
I want to start with that trap, actually. Because instead of just jumping straight to a list of study tips, I think we need to look at why it's so hard.
The asymmetry of the fight we're in.
Exactly. Why is it so incredibly hard to just ignore a buzzing phone? Like, why does a tiny little vibration on a desk completely derail our focus?
Well, our source calls this the attention trap.
The attention trap.
And it's a very deliberately engineered trap. The guide explains that digital platforms are designed, by their very nature, to capture and hold your attention.
They want you hooked?
They do. They operate on what psychologists call variable reward schedules.
Variable reward schedules.
Yeah.
What does that mean in plain English?
It basically means you don't know what that notification is until you check it.
Oh, like a slot machine.
Exactly like a slot machine.
Hmm.
It could be a really boring email, or it could be a highly entertaining video from a friend.
You just don't know.
Right. And that uncertainty triggers a massive dopamine release in your brain in anticipation.
Just from the buzz.
Straight from the buzz. It provides these quick, frequent bursts of stimulation that your brain physically starts to crave.
So if I can use an analogy here,
Go for it.
it's kind of like trying to eat a plain salad right after you just ate a giant bag of candy.
That's a great way to put it.
Like, of course your brain is going to reject the salad. It wants more sugar. When you compare that quick dopamine hit to the slow, methodical process of reading a dense text,
It's not even a fair fight.
it really isn't.
Yeah.
If you're constantly feeding your brain these high dopamine inputs, trying to sit down and read a textbook is going to feel agonizing.
It's like trying to load a broken website on dial-up internet.
Yes. So what kind of bad habits does this actually create? The guide talks about this, right?
It does. The source highlights that this calibration issue leads to a very specific set of bad habits, mainly compulsive checking, constant task switching, and severe procrastination.
Procrastination makes sense because you're avoiding the hard thing.
Exactly. Because when a topic gets hard, when you hit a point of cognitive friction where you actually have to think deeply, the phone is sitting right there,
Offering an effortless escape hatch.
an immediate escape. And the guide notes that simply recognizing this pattern is the crucial first step.
Just admitting you're trapped.
Yeah, realizing that you are biologically outmatched by the algorithm. You have to stop relying on brute force willpower alone.
Which brings us to a really common yet completely flawed coping mechanism.
Well, with a compromise.
Yes, the compromise. Since we know we're trapped by these devices, our natural instinct is to try and just do both.
Right, the classic, I'll just leave my phone on the desk.
Exactly. Face up, right next to the textbook. We think, oh, I can study and just keep an eye on things.
The illusion of multitasking.
It really is an illusion, isn't it?
A complete illusion. We trick ourselves into thinking we can smoothly split our attention, 50% to the book, 50% to the group chat.
But biologically, that's not what's happening.
Not at all. The text breaks down what actually happens when your attention shifts. Human brains do not parallel process complex information.
We do.
No, we toggle, we switch back and forth. And every single time you look away from your revision to check a device, you endure a severe cognitive switching penalty.
So what does this all mean? If I can throw another analogy at this.
Please do.
Context switching is kind of like driving a car, but you're constantly slamming on the brakes and then flooring the accelerator.
Oh, that's perfect.
You burn a ton more fuel, which is your mental energy, but it takes you way, way longer to actually reach your destination.
That is exactly what cognitive load theory tells us, which underpins the guide's warnings.
Okay, break that down for me.
So when you look at a notification, it takes time for your brain to physically refocus on the original task.
It's not instantaneous.
Not at all. And the concrete consequences outlined in the text are pretty severe.
What are we talking about here? Just getting a little tired.
It's worse. This multitasking actually weakens memory formation. It increases your error rate.
Wow.
It drastically slows down your learning speed. It reduces memory retention, and it actually increases stress.
Just from glancing at a phone.
Just from glancing.
Yeah.
Because the ultimate irony, according to the source, is that this false multitasking results in much longer revision times for the exact same results.
Oh, man. So you feel like you studied for 4 hours.
Right, you sat there for 4 hours, but you only got maybe an hour of actual consolidated learning done.
Because you were just hitting the brakes the whole time.
Exactly. Conversely, the text highlights that single-task, focused study is the only physical mechanism that efficiently moves information into long-term memory.
Okay, so if willpower isn't enough to fight this, and the biological cost of multitasking is that high.
We have to change our physical reality.
Right. We need to build a defense system. So how does the source suggest we design our environment to protect that single task focus?
The guide places a massive emphasis on your surroundings. It states that your environment strongly dictates your concentration.
So it's not just about trying really hard to focus.
No, you cannot rely on internal discipline when the external environment is hostile to focus. A structured physical environment actively supports disciplined habits.
But let me push back on this a little bit.
Sure.
Does technology have any place in studying? Or is the guide basically saying it's entirely a hazard and we need to throw our laptops out the window?
No, not at all. That's a vital distinction the source addresses. The goal isn't to eliminate technology.
Because that's not realistic anyway.
Exactly. These are Year 11 and Year 13 students. Their entire educational ecosystem is digital.
Right.
The shift the guide advocates for is moving from passive consumption, mindless scrolling, to intentional use.
Intentional use. Okay, what does that actually look like?
Well, first, it's about the physical space. The guide mentions studying in a quiet, organized space. Keep only essential materials on your desk.
So clear away the clutter.
Right. Put the phone totally out of reach, or better yet, in another room entirely.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Exactly. And there's also a social element. The text suggests actively informing your friends or your family of your study schedule.
Oh, so they know not to interrupt you.
Right, you're setting boundaries.
Oh.
But regarding the tech itself, the expert highlights very positive uses detailed in the text.
Like what?
Accessing online learning platforms, watching specific educational videos, completing digital past papers.
I mean, like flashcard apps?
Yes, exactly. Revision apps are highly recommended. The difference is that you are dictating the technology's function rather than the technology dictating your attention.
Got it. Okay, here's where it gets really interesting.
Oh.
Because now we're moving from theory to practice. We've cleared the desk. The phone is in the other room. The tech we are using is intentional.
The environment is set.
Exactly. So how should you actually structure your time in that environment to maximize your brain power?
The source introduces this highly effective strategy called the focused study block.
Focused study blocks. Okay.
The idea is to work for 30 to 40 minutes. But here's the key. Without checking your phone at all.
Complete lockdown.
Complete single-task focus for 30 to 40 minutes. Then, you take a short break to check messages if necessary, and repeat.
That builds up your ability to focus over time, right?
Yes, the guide explains that this approach builds concentration stamina. But to make it work, managing notifications is critical.
Because even a ping breaks the spell.
Exactly. The text recommends turning off non-essential alerts entirely. Use Do Not Disturb or focus modes on your devices.
So the phone doesn't even have the chance to buzz.
Right. Log out of your social media account so there's extra friction to get back in. And set specific scheduled times to check your messages.
Okay, I want to ask about those breaks.
Let's talk about them.
Because I think this is where a lot of people drop the ball. If I just did 40 minutes of intense calculus, isn't resting just resting? Why does it matter what I do on my break?
This is a critical distinction from the text.
Yeah.
Not all breaks are created equal. Really, if you spend your break passively scrolling on a screen, say checking TikTok or Instagram, you are not actually resting your brain.
But it feels like a break. I'm not doing math anymore.
It feels like a break, but neurologically you're just feeding your brain rapid-fire stimulation.
Oh, wow.
The source explicitly states that passive screen time during a break does not refresh the brain.
So what does refresh the brain? What should we be doing?
Active breaks. The guide suggests doing something physical or genuinely restful. Stretching, going for a short walk, getting some fresh air.
Physical movement.
Yes, or having a healthy snack, or just talking briefly with a friend face-to-face.
So stepping completely away from the screen.
Exactly. These active breaks let your brain actually consolidate what you just learned. If you just jump to another screen, you interrupt that memory-saving process.
That is mind-blowing. So the break is actually part of the studying.
It is essential to the study.
Okay, so if we zoom out here.
Yeah, if we connect this to the bigger picture, the final section of the source material is really profound.
Where does it go?
It points out that managing digital devices isn't just about exam scores. It's deeply tied to emotional stability.
Oh, mental well-being.
Exactly. Excessive, unmanaged device use actively increases anxiety and ruins sleep.
Which just makes it harder to study the next day.
It's a vicious cycle, but the text notes that students who master this device management actually feel more in control.
They're driving the car, not the phone.
Right. They experience less last-minute stress, and they build real study confidence.
But this takes time, right? You don't just wake up with perfect discipline.
No, the guide is very realistic. It's a gradual process. You have to start with small goals.
Like maybe just 15 minutes of focus at first.
Exactly. Slowly increase your distraction-free time. Reward yourself with those good, active breaks. Eventually, that deep concentration becomes natural.
It becomes your default mode.
Exactly.
Man, we have covered so much ground today. But I want to leave you, the listener, with a final provocative thought. The source calls managing distractions a key life skill. So think about this. If you can master the discipline to protect your focus and single task right now, whether you're a year 11 boarder or a professional prepping for a meeting, how might that ability to control your own attention become your ultimate superpower?
That's a great question.
Because we live in a world where almost everyone else is stuck in this endless loop of passive scrolling. If you can focus, you are basically unstoppable.
It really is the ultimate competitive advantage today.
It absolutely is. Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Take control of those distractions, everyone.
Yep. Put that phone in the other room, take real breaks, and achieve your true potential. We'll see you next time.